Hi, I'm Corey. Welcome to Creating with Scraps. Today is day 4 of the Curious Case of Craftly Hall, a collaboration based on a really fun concept by Tracie Fox Creative. And my take might be just a little tiny bit different because than some of the previous videos, and this is a month-long collaboration, so you've got lots and lots to look forward to. I'm hoping you've already had a chance to watch Tracie and Natalie and Dee Dee, who did days 1 through 3. And the real beauty of this collaboration kit, whatever, is there's so many options. Whether you like creepy stuff or mysterious stuff or anything in between, there's something for you. This is an enormous kit. And actually it's a couple kits. There's a background kit and then an ephemera kit with all the day pieces. So you can follow along exactly as it's set up to do, to figure out a case. There's some great videos that I'll link below, and the kits, of course, I'll link below, as well as the link tree that'll have all of the people's videos throughout the month. But the real benefit of this, in addition to just being a whole heck of a lot of fun, is there's truly something for everyone, whether you like creepy stuff or not, because it's full of ideas that can be used in other ways. And I'm sure that everybody's going to do something slightly different, whether it's the day-to-day option that you have or something else that will tie into the theme. There's just a lot to go in, and there's so many pieces in this kit. What I did is because there was a lot, and making a decision about what to do pretty much stalled me for a while. But the ephemera bits, not even the background pieces or the base pieces, the ephemera bits, I broke into categories. I did people, places, things, uncut pieces yet, and then words and writing spaces. Simply because when I was looking at all the different pieces and trying to decide what I wanted to use, there was just so many options. And it's based on a really fun thing that Tracie and her husband, Justin, did with a whole mysterious events around this home. And there's an option to print the actual case notes and the detectives that were searching for the clues, and there's a whole cool backstory. And again, those will be linked. So if you haven't followed along, and if you choose to, you can. But I know that everybody's doing something different, but I'm going to try to show you something that'll give you options, whether you want to follow along and do the entire case file or whether you want to do something else with it. Okay, so I'm not going to show you the kit because I'll link Tracie's video that will show you the kit and all the different things that you can do. But in the kit are the 31 days, and maybe it's 30 days, because June has 30 days. So maybe it's the 30 days, and today is day 4. So I'm going to use the pieces from day 4, though you certainly don't have to. In addition to the ephemera and the backgrounds, there's an individual kit that you can use each day and utilize to follow along. This one says, in the spring of 1864, the doctor is killed in one of the outbuildings. And so there's an image of an outbuilding. There is the little quote or the clue for the day. And then there's an option of some ephemera pieces. This one would be a coin envelope. And then what I did is I just backed it with one of the freebies. Oh, and that's another thing. Before I forget, if you go to traciefoxcreative.com, I believe is what it is, you can join her Facebook group and or website. And there's some freebies on there. And some of the pieces that I used today are from the freebies as well as the kit. So just keep that in mind. But the base of what I'm going to be doing is from the day 4 piece, the day 4 set, as well as the story itself, which I chose to print out on coffee dyed tracing paper, and then some of the just a little ephemera bits, and I think 1 or 2 of the freebies is in here. But anyway, as I said, the biggest challenge for me, I changed my minds probably 6 or 7 times, was what I was actually going to make, because when Tracie first mentioned this, my brain immediately went to like an escape room concept. And so I wanted to do something that was interactive and you could kind of hunt and find things. And then as I saw it more, I thought, oh, I'll transition into Clue, the game, where, so-and-so did it in such and such room with a lead pipe kind of a thing. And so what I ended up with was kind of a combination of the creepy house, the Craftly Hall house, and kind of an escapish room thing, and Clue, and a little bit of everything. So I kind of tied it all together. And I haven't made the actual sample because, again, I changed my mind so many times, but I did base it on something I have made before. And it's this is a journal, an idea book that I made a year or so ago. And as I was thinking about what I wanted to do here with my concepts, this kind of really lent itself well to what I was doing. So what I'm doing today is based on something that I've done before. And it's an interactive piece, and it's kind of, like I said, got the escape room vibe going on, as well as like Clue Whodunit. And it's not exactly like this, of course, but it is based on that. So without further ado, I will build this. All right, so these are the pages, and there happens to be 9 of them of the story itself. And like I said, I printed it on coffee dyed tracing paper, and I ended up tearing it at 4.5 by 7. Just because of the size print that it was, and it worked well to cut to that size. So I just tore it, and now I've got lots of really cool coffee dyed tracing paper scraps, and I've got the entire story in here. So what I am going to do, again, based on my idea from earlier, is, and using the kits, I am going to do that interactive folio piece, I guess. And I will use all 3 of these pieces, but I actually used 2 sets. And on this one, I backed it with the deed backing. That's a Tracie Fox freebie. I don't end up actually using this for this. I'll use this for something else because you don't actually see the back so much, but that's kind of what I did here. But we will use all 3 of these pieces that's on this page, and then I used 2 sets of this. So I just printed this one twice. And this backing piece, the base as it were, is 4 3/4 by 7 1/4. So 4 3/4 by 7 1/4. And I did that because of the size of the story itself. I wanted to put the story itself, the case, right here. Now, if you're following along, I noticed that a couple different people have done different things. Like Tracie made some really cool pieces that you can stick in or put in a container or a box or a jar, or the folio itself. And then Natalie did this really cool tunnel case holder piece. And then Dee Dee did, she did another like flip interactive piece that's multiple pieces. So any of those could be cases, folders, or places to put something. My thought was, whether you're putting it in a box or you're going to build a journal around it or you're going to have a file, I wanted whichever system you personally use to be able to interact with this, which is why I went with this, this system. So 4 3/4 by 7 1/2, that fits most journals. Many people do 6 by 9. I tend to do them a little smaller, but anyway, that's the measurement for this one. And again, it was so that I could put the story in. So the story itself is going to be glued onto here, but not quite yet. So I cut out both of these coin envelope pieces, and I just didn't do it here. And then I inked them a little bit because I didn't print the back on these. So I just inked them a little bit all the way around. Now I normally use walnut stain, and this color here, this darky color, is walnut stain. And I use ink instead of oxide, but any ink works. But for the edges of this, because of the age and the image and the look that I was going for, I went with scorched timber for the edges. If you're not an ink person, this kit really lends itself to ink, but if you're not an ink person, you certainly don't have to use any of those. So, coin envelope. What I'm going to do with the coin envelope is I inked it and cut it, and then I'm going to close it like this. I'm not going to tuck the bottom underneath. Some people will fold it over like this, and then this would be your coin envelope, right? Well, what I'm going to do is just glue closed this flap. Just a tip, after you cut it out, there are score lines on it. I score them on the lines with my scoreboard simply so I can get it about right. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it just makes it a little bit easier. So after cutting them out and inking them, I am going to glue it just like this. I'm not going to glue this yet, and I'm not going to glue the top. So I'll glue that closed. And then that's to put like notes or case information, that type of thing. Not the story itself, but any additional documents that the detectives who are solving the case might want to include. So, and I printed out and cut well, lots of the ephemera, but I pulled a few bits because I'm not 100% sure what I want to use for the closure, and I'm not really sure who the doctor is. And when you say, Corey, what do you mean by who the doctor is? The message for the day, for this particular day, if you're going with the day order, is in the spring of 1864, the doctor is killed in one of the outbuildings. So that would be the outbuilding, and then I've got some images of who I might think might be the doctor. But before I do that, I am going to do these pieces. So that's what those are. So I'm going to do these coin envelope pieces. And I'll glue the second one, because remember I printed and cut 2. Okay, I printed more, but playing with what I wanted to do. So these are both printed cuts and scored. Okay, and now I haven't glued this down or adhered this yet. You can do it a couple different ways. I wanted this as a base so that I can tuck it in, or I can glue it down to something else, or it can be a front cover or a back cover, just kind of having some options. So what I'm going to do is this angled hinge, not the wider piece, the angled hinge. I didn't score these very well, obviously. I'm going to tuck underneath my, I don't even know what I want to call this, my story. I guess my printed story, that's a good way to put it. And I'm going to tuck it underneath here at the bottom so that it goes to just about the top. And you can see that it fits just about right. That was a nice happening with these, and one of the reasons I went with this. So I'm going to glue this around on the back. So I'm just wrapped it around. I'm going to glue it on the back. Put a little bit of glue here, and I'll glue it directly on the back of the back page. Now I chose to sew all the pages together along the top. You don't have to. You could staple them, you could paper clip them, you could do anything you want. I just wanted it to sew them because of the flatness. Now you can see right here, I haven't glued this piece down. I don't know that I actually need to, because there's no reason on earth that I couldn't push it down, whatever's in there a little farther, but you could close it. I mean it's an envelope, so maybe we want to just put a tiny bit of glue at the bottom to close that. So if I'm going to put something big in there, like maybe I'll put a key or a note or a picture or something in there. So I'll do that. And then I'm going to do the same thing at the bottom. I want this to wrap around the bottom, and you'll see that if I do it this way, there is a gap in the middle, and that's okay. I kind of want that gap, and I'll show you why in a minute. So I'm going to do the same thing that I did on the top at the bottom, and I'm going to glue this flap here. And like I said, I didn't make a prototype of this, so I'm just trusting that this will work out, and I may do this and tell you, no, don't do what I just did because that didn't work. So bear with me if you would. All right, so I'm going to glue that down. And I made this one a little shorter so I can put a picture there, so I got to be careful not to glue that down. I was thinking after it's all said and done, maybe I could come put like a picture or something. The story ended, up a little higher, right? So I thought I could put a picture, an image, or case solved or something right there. I wanted I wanted to leave myself some creative license room, I guess. All right, now that I've got this, do I want to glue this down yet? No. And I don't, the reason I don't want to glue this whole unit down here yet is because, did I make that too big? Oh, I did. I went down too far. Okay, well, you know, I needed it to be just at the bottom so that it would not overlap. I want to see a little bit of that black hinge around, but that's okay because I can re-glue. And I want it to just be at the end there. I had gone down just a little too far over the edge. So I think that'll work. I hope that works. Okay, that should be a little better. And when I lay it on here, it should fit a little better and still have a little bit of black all the way around. And it does. I've got that little bit of black frame, which is what I was wanting all the way around. Okay. And I will just fold this down for now. I don't know if I'm going to put a Velcro dot there, or I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do on that. So we'll figure it out together as we go. All right, piece here, piece here. Now, I've got this image, and this is Craftly Hall itself. It says it Lower Craftly, apparently, is what it says. And it was one of the images on the ephemera bit. And I just put a piece of coffee dyed tracing paper on the back, and I cut the image out on the front, and I edged it with that scorched timber. And I want to put this right about here. So you can see a little bit of the print on the left and see a little tiny bit of the print on the right. So kind of makes, the idea was to make you want to look and see what's underneath. And then I just took a scrap of black cardstock and made myself a hinge so that I can do the same type of a thing that I did here with the bottom of the coin envelope. I can make a hinge to close this like this. Okay, so I'm going to glue this piece, this card piece, this picture piece, right here like this to make a hinge, and it'll wrap around just like the other one did. Now I want, because this is a little bit wider, I hope I did that right. Yeah, well, I just want to put it at the very edge. Now I should be, you know what, I'll be smarter than I think. Well, maybe. I want this to wrap around so that it does the same thing that the others did. You know what? Maybe this isn't quite wide enough. I need to make a little bit wider hinge. Okay, so this is about 4 inches long and about 1 inch wide. So I'm going to do it, I'm going to do 2 inches wide. Sure, why not? 2 inches wide, and I think it was about, maybe it was 3 3/4. I don't know, something like that. So I'm going to make myself a little bit bigger piece simply because I want this, rather than being at the edge right here, I kind of want it to be in the middle, so I need to make my hinge a little bit wider. And then I'll score this in about the middle. Okay, let's see. I think that might work a little bit better. And this is thicker black cardstock, so I will, okay, crease that really well. And if I wrap this around here, see, that gives me a little bit more depth with that hinge. Okay, this part I don't mind so much, but I just normally have my work surface, but there was so much glare tonight that I couldn't get enough light and remove the glare on the glass because I have a glass work surface. So that's why I put this brown piece of cardstock there. Okay. Well, that kind of defeated my purpose. So maybe, you know what? Maybe I'll just do it like this because it's deep enough. Maybe I'll just do it like that. I wanted a little bit of the words to peek out, but you know what? Maybe they don't. Maybe they don't have to do that. And maybe I fold this down a little bit more. Okay. And then it'll wrap like this. And you can see there's just, you have a little bit of wiggle room. It's not perfectly precise, but it doesn't really need to be. Okay, but I want it to wrap around like that. And then so maybe I put it here. Yep, that's what I'm going to do. All right, I am going to roughly make this in the center, and I'll glue this down on the back here, just like I did on the other side, because this whole assemblage, I guess for a better word, want of a better word, is going to be glued down on this background piece. So I'm, just like I did over here with these flaps, I am gluing my newly created hinge flap down. All right, now I'm going to take my image of Craftly Hall and lay it on the top, maybe just about so. I'm leaving just a little tiny bit here so that when it lifts up, it will it'll give me enough clearance. So I'm going to put glue here on this portion of the hinge, and I'll lay Craftly Hall right down there. That'll give me my other flap. It'll also give me a place to journal or write or put a photo, or because again, I haven't decided 100% how I want to do that or what I want to do. But I do now have a flap here and 2 flaps with pockets here. All right, so that is the base. Okay, now, like in the other one, I do want it to have a flap closure, and I thought of a couple different things. One of the pieces in the ephemera pack is this, and I'm honestly not 100% sure. I don't know if that's a temperature gauge, or I don't really know. So I thought I could maybe go like this, but it's kind of thin. And then I thought, well, gosh, there's no lace on here. So I took a scrap bit of lace and I sewed it on another piece of black cardstock because I like lace, and the black tied the two together. So I think that's what I'll do. And you can see here, I just overlapped it a little bit because I didn't know for sure what I was going to do. And then I cut out some different images. Actually, I'd cut out several different pictures. And again, because it says in the spring of 1864, the doctor is killed in one of the outbuildings. Well, you know, I mean, in 1864, most physicians were men, but there's no reason on earth it couldn't be a woman. So I tried to pick some of the pictures that I might want it to be the doctor, but you know, I really like the idea of her being the doctor. Now, I listened to the story, but I didn't listen well enough to know for sure that the doctor is a male. I think it said the doctor and his wife, but I really like this image. But I'm thinking, in case the story does say the doctor and his wife, I'll use one of these two, and I don't know which one yet, though I still really want to use her. And then the outbuilding, this was part of that kit, so this will be the outbuilding. So maybe I'll just choose, maybe I'll choose this one simply because it works really well with this and with the black. So there's my process of elimination. Out of the different images, I've decided that he gets to be the doctor and that gets to be his wife. Okay, and then I love books. Books are my favorite thing, so I pulled a couple of these out. I don't know for sure that I'll use those. And I really liked the watch. I liked the watch with this bit of the kit, and I really wanted to use all of the kit. So I might end up doing that. And see, here's the case number, but it's also on the top of the document itself. So I don't know if that's superfluous or if I just, oh, I really like that. I bet you I'm going to do that because I really like the way that looks together. But then again, this is day 4, and this is the entirety of the case. But you know what? You get case numbers stamped on a lot of things so that if papers get out of order, you know which case they go to. So okay, I'm all right with that. All right, so those don't actually work real great, but this does. And this, just if you are a viewer of my channel, you know that in November of 2022, I was disassembling a vintage piano for a recycling project, and one of the legs cracked and the whole thing fell on me. It was a 1906 upright, and this was a whole bunch of deja vu because this particular piano in this kit looked eerily similar to the one that fell on me and crushed my leg. So I may have to use this at some point in this journal, maybe even on that back page, because it doesn't stress me out anymore, but boy, does that look familiar. So anyway, I may end up having to use that. Okay, enough dithering. I'm going to move this on. And you know, I kind of like a little bit of lace hanging over. I don't suppose I have to leave it. I could trim it off if I wanted, but I kind of like it. So maybe I'll just leave that extra bit of lace like that. And use this as my flap. Okay, so the doctor will go inside somewhere, the doctor and the spouse, and then the outbuilding. Maybe I'll put those inside somewhere. But I really liked this on there, so I think I might do that. I tried to ink things in advance, but since I pulled this out late, it doesn't have the ink on it. And again, I'm using 2 of these daubers because I've got walnut stain and I'm inking the edges of most of these with the scorched timber. All right, and I think I said I liked it like that. And then the watch goes here, like that. And then it'll sit on here to be the closure. I think I like that assemblage. And it'll show in the back, but that's okay. I really don't mind that so much. All right, I'm going to glue this down. And I'm going to glue the watch on here. I kind of want it dropped a little bit, so maybe right there. And then I want the top of the watch just here so it doesn't peel up. I'll put those bits away later. All right, so that is kind of my assemblage. And now I will wrap maybe like this. And, you know, maybe I'll make it go a little bit farther. You know what? Maybe I will. I'll have it go a little bit farther in there. And then this will wrap around the whole thing like so. And I'll put a piece of Velcro under there, and then the lace shows. Okay, I kind of like the way that looks. So I'm going to go with that. I'll glue that on in just a minute. So I need to glue this piece down in the back. And again, I haven't put this on the backing yet. I'm just gluing it down to the back of the story page. And you know, in hindsight, I could have put another piece back there, but I don't think it'll bother me because I intend to put a picture on this. So, okay, glued that down. And now I'm going to grab a bit of Velcro. And that's a goodly size. But you know what? I'm going to have to put Velcro right on top of my Craftly haul, my lower Craftly haul. But I guess that's okay. So I'll use a little Velcro square rather than a larger one because I don't want to cover up too much of that. I've had folks say that they like me to talk through my process. Most of the time I decide everything in advance, and then I share how I assembled it. But this one I'm just kind of talking through as I'm thinking. So you can still see all the things. And I'll put a little bit of glue. This is sticky back Velcro, but I find that if I don't put glue on there, it doesn't stick as well. So I just put a little bit of glue. And the key is to use a little bit because otherwise what will happen is if you use too much glue, it'll seep through and then whatever you're lifting up won't lift up correctly. Okay, so that like that, and then I'm just going to glue this on right there. Okay. Like about so. Don't want to go down too low because I don't want it to stick to the image. Okay. I should probably do this to make sure. See? Oh, okay, here we go. So you can see back there, you want to make sure I didn't get too much glue. I don't want that to be glued closed. And yeah, I don't mind the back of that because it's not going to show most of the time. So here is my Craftly haul. There is this flap. There's that flap. There's that flap. There's the story. This wraps, this wraps, this wraps, and that goes there. I might put some Nouveau Crystal Glaze on this to make the clock face stand out. Oh, I really like that. Okay, now I'm going to take the whole bit and put it and mount this, the back of this, right on here, because I want a little bit of black all the way around, and I want it solid so that, but you know what, this is just a little too small. You can't really see the black. Okay, so my 4, what did I say, 4 3/4 and 7 1/4 is not quite big enough with all the pieces and such. So I think I'm going to do a 5 by 7 1/2. Let's see. Let's see if that works a little better. I think I've got some more black cardstock here. So I'll do 5 by 7 1/2. Okay, so 5. Okay, and then this, I can open the arm, but this is 8 1/2 inch cardstock. So I just need to take 1 inch off of the height. And that'll give me my 7 1/2. I could take the arm out, but I'm being lazy. Okay, so taking 1 inch off there. So this should be a little bit bigger than the piece I previously had. Yeah, by 1/4 inch on each side, and that should be big enough. Yeah, it's 1/4 inch bigger each way. Okay, it should, and it is. Good, good, good. Okay, I like that. And I will just glue this down, and now I can, how do I want to glue it? Do I just want to use regular glue? See, that's where maybe I should have had a solid page in the back. You know what? Let's do this. Let's open this up and open this up and open this up and open this up. And let's just see. Okay, well, there it goes, a little sticky. Yeah, see, I should have had a solid page. But you know what? That's okay. I can cover this all up with another piece of paper. And I really, really should have had a solid piece in the back. Well, live and learn. I can put a big picture there if I want to. I suppose I could. I could fussy cut that and put a big picture so the glue won't show. But all the glue that I'm putting on the back of this would show. And if so I am going to use, so that it doesn't show as much, I am going to use, yeah, I should have just sewn a piece of coffee dyed paper on the very back page rather than using the coffee dyed tracing paper. That's all right. You know what? It's okay. It'll still work. We'll still be able to read it. It'll still show. So I'm going to put glue stick back here because I don't want, glue stick doesn't have the same visual underneath coffee dyed tracing paper that a wet glue will have, and this will hold it just fine. So that's why I'm using this. And if I need to, I can come in on those heavier parts and put some wet glue if I need to. All right, now I'm going to center that, mostly centered. And you know what? It's a little longer than I want, but I can trim that off. And I'm just going to come in and push this down. Yeah, see, it's just it's just a little longer than I would like on the bottom. So I'll trim that off. All right, so if you were following along with me, my suggestion would be to put a piece of coffee dyed paper or a cardstock or something, a thinner piece on your back page if you're going to put the entire story there. If you don't want to put the story, if you just want to do something else, you could open this up and see, you can't even almost see that. I'll have to reprint. You know what I can do is I'll reprint just this back page and lay it on top so it can still be read. That's a quick, easy fix. So if I weren't going to have the story here, what I would do is just put a piece of coffee dyed paper so that I can use it as a journaling spot to write the details of the story and that type of thing. I want to save this as a journaling spot. I can put these photos on these pieces right here right? That's just the roof of it. I can put them on the side right there. I can tuck them inside with some notes about who they are. I'm not 100% sure what I want to do with that yet. I'll probably use some little tiny paper clips to put right here. I don't know if I want them to go on there or if I want them to go inside. And you know what? Because I'm not sure, I'm not going to do anything yet. But I definitely want them to go in the journal itself. And then maybe I'll put, you know, a case note or something right here. Yeah. I don't know if I want, you know what, I kind of like that. Maybe a detail about, maybe this would be good. I'll put the details about the doctor and his wife and a detail about the outbuilding where he lost his life. Maybe I'll do it like that. In any event, I will think about that and play with it, and I'll reprint that one back page. So don't make the same mistake I did if you're going to print the story. But that's what I've got here, and that is day 4 of The Curious Case of Craftley Hall. Again, please follow along with other folks. Like and subscribe to their videos and support their channels. There's people that are really well known, and there's some new crafters too. So it's always fun to get new ideas from new people. I hope you found this helpful, and I hope that this will work regardless of which way you're going with this particular kit and case. And thank you all very much for watching. Take care and happy creating.